Oklahoma lawmakers have sent a bill to the governor's desk that would make the state's bell-to-bell, no-cell policy permanent in schools.
5 News reporter Claire Averbach joining us now live with how school districts say this policy is already making a difference. Good morning.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Lauren. Poteau Public Schools is actually one of the districts that already had a no cell phone policy even before this policy was attempted to make permanent. I spoke with the superintendent and he said he's seen overwhelmingly positive effects from students not having access to their cell phones during the school day. This bill originally started as a pilot policy back in 2025, but now lawmakers are pushing to make it permanent in schools statewide. Supporters say the policy reduces distractions, improves classroom focus, and encourages more in-person interaction between students. The bill also requires districts to include exceptions for emergencies and medical needs. In Poteau, school leaders say one of the biggest questions they hear from parents is how they'll reach their children. But they say schools already have processes in place to make sure that families can stay connected.
I think the biggest concern and issue that anybody has when you don't have cell phones at all is in case of emergency. How do you get a hold of them? And I think those are valid concerns from parents in today's society. If a parent wants to come pick up a kid, come pick up a kid. If a parent wants to get a hold of a kid, call the office. We'll get the kid down there and you can talk to them.
I also spoke with Cameron Public Schools, who more recently implemented this policy in their classroom. They say they've also seen positive effects both in the classroom in terms of focus and out of the classroom, with students talking to each other more social interactions during lunch and even in passing periods. Live in Poteau, covering news where you live, Claire Averbach, 5 News.
We're delivering on the promises that we made to the people of this state to make our state better and at the same time let them keep more of their money.
Arkansas's governor signing a round of tax cuts, which they say will lower the state's top individual income tax rate from 3.9 to 3.7, alongside the top corporate rate from 4.3 to 4.1. Supporters say Arkansas can afford it and taxpayers should keep more of their money. But Bobby Howard with Arkansas Appleseed says the benefit is not spread evenly.
A middle income Arkansas family of 4 can expect to see something like $50 total benefit from these tax cuts. Arkansans who make less than $25,000 will see no benefit from these tax cuts. So about 80% of the financial benefit of these tax cuts will go to the top 20% of earners in Arkansas.
The personal income tax cut is retroactive to January 1st. The corporate tax cut takes effect next year. And we're hearing from the Worcester police chief this morning for the first time since a shooting during a standoff last month, which sent him to the hospital. It also killed a LaFleur County deputy. Chief Andy Thompson was shot after police responded to a welfare check on April 19th in Worcester. He says he's thankful to be alive, but keeps reliving the chaos of that day. Thompson says after he was shot, he laid on the ground for half an hour before he could get to an ambulance.
It hit my gun, my AR, caught my taser, threw my vest out into my vest, and then we figured come back in and then come back out, and then it stayed in my vest.
Well, something that's helped with his recovery, Chief Thompson says he usually spends every morning working at Worcester schools. After he got shot, the school gave him a stack of homemade cards from kids. Meanwhile, Heavener Public Schools held a tribute to honor the fallen LaFleur County Deputy Walker LeMay. 404 was his badge number. The school announced on Wednesday that a fundraiser will be held with all of the proceeds going to LeMay and Chief Thompson's families. It'll be held at the Reynolds Center in Poteau.
New overnight, multiple tornadoes ripped through Mississippi, leaving a trail of destroyed homes and injured victims in their wake. The storms also knocked down power lines, with tens of thousands of homes and businesses across Mississippi without power. There were also reports of trapped residents, but dangerous conditions slowed rescue efforts, authorities said. President Trump said he's had, quote, very good talks with Iran this week and that the U.S. and Iranian regime may soon reach a deal to end their conflict. Axios reports both sides may be closing in on a one-page memo to end the war and launch more detailed talks. It could include a pause in Iran's nuclear enrichment, lifting U.S. sanctions, and easing restrictions in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's parliament speaker mocked the report online, calling it Operation Trust Me Bro. President Trump has threatened to resume bombing without a deal. This morning, at least 2 Americans are being monitored after returning from a cruise ship linked to a deadly hantavirus outbreak.
Nearly 150 people remain on board as the ship heads to the Canary Islands in Spain. Jared Hill has more.
As the cruise ship at the center of the hantavirus outbreak floats towards Spain's Canary Islands, in the U.S., the Georgia Department of Public Health confirms they're monitoring 2 residents who were on board. Both disembarked before the ship went into quarantine and are said to be in good health and show no signs of infection. The New York Times reports 2 other states, California and Arizona, are monitoring passengers as well.
What makes this really hard to contain is the fact that it's on a ship and the timeline.
The cruise ship left Argentina on April 1st, headed to South Georgia Island. 5 days later, a Dutch passenger developed a respiratory illness. He died on April 11th. The man's wife got off the ship on April 24th and flew from St. Helena to Johannesburg, where she died 2 days later. A second male passenger was evacuated on April 27th and also flown to Johannesburg. On May 2nd, on the ship, the outbreak's 3rd death.
The atmosphere was tense.
Rui Sennett was a passenger on the MV Hondius. He filmed the moment the captain announced the first death.
It happens at sea sometimes, very sad, very tragic.
Sennett said after, the passengers went back to normal life on the ship. Oceanwide Expedition, which operates the cruise, says proper procedure was followed, noting the announcement was made before they knew the cause of death. While the rare strain can be serious, health officials stress it doesn't pass easily.
It requires close, prolonged contact.
Now officials in Argentina are scrambling to pinpoint the source. Jared Hill, CBS News.